everybody. Wait for everybody to sign on for this one. I'm hoping we have quite a few people because it's going to be a good math one. You know, I always wonder what all these people do when they're waiting. I haven't seen too many other videos. I've been trying to make my own. Usually the videos I see are people like at an event or something like that, and I haven't had the time. There are a lot out there, but I haven't had the time to see too many videos of other councils and that type of stuff. Hi, Gloria. I was just talking about, hi, Sharon. I was just talking about, like, I wonder what other people do while they're waiting for people to sign in, because you want to start like a minute early to give those early birds like me. I was raised, if you're 5 minutes late, you're already 10 minutes. If you're 5 minutes early, you're already 10 minutes late. So I was just wondering what other people do. Sit here and just kind of look at themselves in the mirror. I don't know. So we'll give everybody another minute or so to join us. As you can see, I'm sitting outside, social distancing. Nobody's around me, but I just had to get some fresh air today. Hi, Amara. So if you just want to put in there where you're from or what troop you're with or what level you are, that'd be great. And we'll give everyone a few more minutes to get signed in. We always have a little bit of a lag. Like when first time I did this, I told a joke and like nobody responded. And then like 15 seconds later, a bunch of the smiley faces came up and I'm like, yeah, okay. Whew, my joke wasn't that bad. I do tell some crummy jokes. I'm the funniest person I know, but yeah. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. Takes all kinds. Hi, Melissa. All right, well, we'll get started here. Of course, these get posted on our YouTube council page, so that way if there's anyone who joins late that misses the beginning, they can always go back and watch it. So, my name is Rink, and I'm the STEM director for the Girl Scouts of the Desert Southwest. And you can tell today I am sitting outside. These have all happened from inside, and I just had to get outside and get some beautiful southern New Mexico sunshine. Got a little bit of a breeze going back there, but hopefully the wind won't get too bad where you can't hear me. Now, another reason we're sitting outside is because of all of this green stuff here behind me in my yard. Weeds. Now, a weed is just a plant that is growing where you don't want it to grow. Those are actually wildflowers, but since they're in my yard and I don't want them there, they're going to be weeds, okay? I used to have a little long-haired dachshund a bunch of years ago. His name was Bucky, and he loved tomatoes. Well, one year he got in my garden, and I discovered all these tomatoes that they were like starting to turn red on one side, so he would eat the red part and leave the green part. The following year, I had a bunch of tomato plants growing in my backyard, not in the garden, in the yard. Because of course, what he ate with the tomato, he ate the seeds. What happens? It goes in one end, it comes out the other, and he had instant fertilizer. So those tomato plants were weeds because they weren't where I wanted them to be. Well, what's all this stuff back here in my yard is this. Okay, I'm gonna put a piece of paper up here so we can maybe see it a little bit better. Woo, backwards, there we go. Well, maybe I'll turn this around, okay? This is called, it's a member of the mustard family. Oh, now the breeze is picking up, of course, right? Member of the mustard family, but the common name of it is called a London rocket. All right, so it's got these it's a little wilty because I pulled it probably about 15 minutes ago. It's got these serrated edges, has a really long taproot, really pretty, tiny, tiny, tiny yellow flowers, okay? But it's a weed. And if you have allergies, this is going to affect your allergies, okay? Most people, I don't have many allergies, but this is the one thing I'm allergic to. So I started thinking, there's plants called noxious weeds. Noxious means harmful, poisonous, and noxious may not hurt us. Noxious weeds may not hurt us. Okay, the allergies. However, they can hurt the environment. Maybe it's something that cows can't eat or that wildlife can't eat. Maybe it's something like this that actually chokes out the native plants that are there that are good for the wildlife that's there. So I was wondering how I could turn this into a STEM lesson. Or, you know, you kind of sit there and you start pulling all the weeds. Now, really, I should have pulled these weeds yesterday or over the weekend, but I left them because I wanted you to see them. I was wondering, if I pull one weed, how many weeds in the future does that save me from pulling, right? So, I did a little math here for you. All right, so if one plant, and we're just gonna go on averages here. I didn't sit and count. I didn't let these guys go to seed. I wanna pull them before they go to seed, before the seeds spread. So we're just gonna take some averages here. I have one plant is 100 seeds, okay? And if I can pull 5 plants in 1 minute, how many total plants did I pull in 5 minutes? Give me your answer. If I can pull 5 plants in 1 minute, and it takes me 5 minutes, how many plants can I pull? Do some simple math here, guys. Well, it may not be simple if you haven't learned how to do multiplication yet. I could do the Facebook Jeopardy theme song. Do 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 do. All right. Does anybody have an idea? All right. 2,500 plants. That's amazing. Okay. Now, oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. Oops. Math was not my strong suit. 25 plants. So if I have 25 plants, how many seeds could I stop spreading? Yes, 2,500 seeds I could stop. That's amazing. And imagine, every one of those seeds has a potential for becoming another plant. Now, you may not, now in New Mexico, I should say, this little London rocket is not considered noxious. It's not on a list of bad weeds. It's an annoying weed, or as I like to call, obnoxious, right? Yes, Amara, good job. Yes. So this is an obnoxious weed, in my opinion, because it gives me the allergies. All right. But in California, this is considered a noxious weed. So each state has their own list of noxious weeds. So I still want to pick it here. 1, because I don't want it in my front yard. And 2, we do get wind traveling from east to west, which means technically some pollen from here could wind up in California. It could start those plants, or maybe it only gets 10 miles away this year, and the next year it gets 25 miles away. So eventually these seeds do travel, or this pollen does travel, and these plants can spread. So we want to try to do what we can do here before they get to spread, okay? Another one is this one. And it's funny, it has been quiet all morning, and just as I started this, my neighbor decides to do something with loud vacuum cleaner or something out there. All right, this one right here. Does anybody have an idea what this one is? I tell you what, it's imported. It never was grown here in the United States. It came over from Europe. And usually when you see it, it's going down the road or down the trail, right? Tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds are actually Russian thistle, and they came across from Russia. That's why they're called Russian thistle. They came across from Russia, and now they're everywhere, and they're a symbol of the American desert, the American Wild West. But you know what? They weren't here until like 150 years ago. 200, not even 200 years ago, 100, 150 years ago at the most, right? So imagine all the Native Americans all of a sudden seeing this tumbleweed going down the trail. Never had it before. All right. Now, as I said, sometimes weeds aren't exactly what you think they are. This one, let me hold up this so you guys can see it. Okay. This one smells good. Okay. If you put it in your garden, it could take over your garden. And it has, the hint is, it has a square stem. Everybody see that square stem? And Oh, it smells so fresh and clean. You could make tea out of it. You could make gum out of it. You could make candy out of it. It gives you fresh breath. Anybody have an idea? Gets little purple and white flowers at the top. Comes in pepper, spira, mint, exactly. Now, mint grows with a rhizome. So it does have flowers and it does have seeds. However, very good, Amara, mint, virtual fist bump. The mint has rhizomes, so the roots spread really far out and new plants shoot up from the roots. So when I was a kid, my mom made the mistake one time of putting this at one end of our garden, and guess what? It spread throughout the whole flower bed. Guess whose job it was to go out and pick them, to get out the mint where it wasn't wanted because it was turning into a weed. Well, I quickly learned that just picking it's not going to help. You had to dig up the roots to get those rhizomes. So plants actually can multiply by seeds and by their roots. So I grow mint, but I've got it in a pot. So that way, and as soon as the flowers come, I pick the flowers so we don't have to worry about mint seeds getting into my garden. But oh, this is really good in a glass of fresh brewed iced tea. All right. So if you want to learn more about noxious weeds, and you're like, now why would I care about what noxious weeds are out there? Well, I tell you, because I have a challenge for you. Remember how I told you that I thought weeds were obnoxious? Well, if you are up to the challenge, I'm going to have you send me how many noxious weeds you have prevented, or obnoxious weeds if you don't have any noxious weeds in your area. And I will send you a certificate that you are part of the obnoxious eradication team. How cool is that, right? But you got to do some math. You got to tell me how many plants you pulled. We'll pretend they all have, we'll just hypothesize that they all have 100 seeds, and how many you pulled so we can figure out how many plants you stopped from being spreaded. Spreaded, from spreading. Yeah, there we go, spreading. All right. Now, I realize if you have not seen this Facebook production live, that's okay. All right, because this will be on our YouTube page. You have till the end of the summer to get that to me. And I will email you a certificate that you can print up. It'll have your name on it as part of the obnoxious weed eradication team, right? And you could take that to school when school comes back at the end of summer when everyone's done social distancing and getting back to normal, right? You can show your friends, you can show your family, you could share it on your social media page. And let's see how many people we can get out and stop the spread of those noxious weeds. So one place that you can look up, there's two places that you can look up what weeds are in your area. We have invasive.org, and then the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they have a really good website, plants.usda.gov, okay? And what I would like you to do is, when you get that information, when you've gone out and you've done your project, at info@GSDSW, and in the subject line, I want you to put obnoxious weeds, or you could just put weeds, okay? And then that way, you'll be able to know, or I'll be able to know what you've done as far as a project. Now, if you're a Girl Scout out there and you need a service project of some sort, and you like being outside and you don't mind picking some weeds, this would be a great service project for you to do, especially if you can find them on one of these lists, right? And every state has their own list. So you could contact Department of Agriculture, the invasive.org has it all listed down by state. Now, some things that I want you to be careful with when you're being outside and pulling weeds. One is ask, if you're gonna pull weeds in your yard, make sure you ask your parents first, okay? Or your grandma or your grandpa, or whoever's house you happen to be at, you want to ask first, because you don't want to go out and start picking weeds, what you think are weeds, and could just be flowers coming up. That would be a big no-no, okay? So get permission first. Then we also want to be safe when we go outside. You notice I have a hat on today, more than a baseball hat. It has a wide brim hat. And for those of you who know me well, you know I don't like wearing a hat, but got to protect the skin, got to protect the face. So you also want to have your SPF, you want to have your sunscreen, protect all those open areas. Now it's a little warm this morning, so I didn't have long sleeves on, okay, because I can get hot really quick, but I do have my sunscreen all over. I even have sunscreen on my ears, even though I'm under a wide brim hat, because that's going to help protect my ears, okay? You also want to have something like gloves, because some of these weeds can be picky, or if you don't know, you may have, you could get the sticky stuff on your hands when you're picking the weeds. They have that juice, we call it milk, okay? And then that way, oh, thank you, Lois, yes, thank you for putting up, I'm gonna, invasive, oh, and then you know what, here, let me write this in right now, plants.usda.gov. There we go. There's the other website. So those two websites have really good information. They have some pictures. There's a lot of apps that you can do on your phone to take pictures of flowers. Now, apps are only as good as the information put in. These two websites that I gave you have the best information. So if you want to start with an app, there's PlantSnap, there's eNature, there's a bunch of different plant apps. There's tons of free ones, so you don't have to pay for anything, okay? Just you can get a free one. If that's a good place to start, but then I would go to those two websites and I would check it out, okay? All right, so we want our gloves because you don't want to get all that sticky on your hand. Another very important thing, water. Even if it's not hot outside, working around, you can still get dehydrated. We want to keep ourselves hydrated, right? So gallon of water every day per person. All right, so that means I should drink this within 1 hour, especially if I'm busy bending over. All right, so go out, you can pick your obnoxious weeds or your noxious weeds and join the obnoxious eradication team, and I will send you a certificate of accomplishment. However, remember, I want to know exactly how many you picked. You cannot go out and this is an on your honor thing. You can't go out and pick one plant and go, oh, I'm a member of the eradication team. No, we got to put some work into it. Got to get some elbow grease into it. Okay, so I put that challenge up to you. Okay, oh, Amara, it's not, there's not a specific badge for it, but a lot of troops or councils or service units have a community service patch that you can get, so you can have hours that I will grant you hours of however many hours you do for pulling the noxious or obnoxious weeds. You can put that towards your community service patch, okay? And you do it, and I'll send you your certificate, and then you have proof that you did it, okay? Because every council or every service unit may have their own, or they may have an event. So if anyone's looking for an opportunity, and especially once things get back to normal and our troops start meeting again, anyone says, hey, we need to do a service project, you know, you can contact your city or your county, or maybe you have a nature park in the area that has a problem with weeds, and say, hey, we'd like to come help you eradicate noxious weeds. And you know what? They are just going to be all over that. All right. Yeah, Mara, it's like that. Yeah, so... But you know what? If you happen to be a brown, Amara, what level are you in? Because the citizen scientist journey has a spot. What if you don't have weeds? Oh, guaranteed there's somewhere in your area. Now, if you don't have like a yard that has weeds and you're in a safe enough location with your parents' permission, you can go out and like to a city park or some open space or county, that kind of thing, like some county land, then I guarantee you everybody has weeds somewhere. But also for the think like a citizen scientist journey, this is also something that you can do, because you've got to do some wildlife identification, so plants count for that, okay? And you need to make a field guide. So what you could do is you could take some of these plant samples and tape them into a field guide and do some research on it, and that's an added step to get you to that think like a citizen scientist journey. All right, so you're Troop 720, excellent. You're a brownie, guess what? Perfect for brownies, okay? And there is a junior gardening badge that if you are getting ready to fly up to juniors, this could help you with. So plenty of time to do that. Plus, it just feels good to get outside and get some exercise, right? Well, I would like to thank you guys for joining me today. Okay, I realize this didn't have a big enough viewing numbers, as big as viewing numbers as like knots did. Weeds aren't everybody's subject. Okay, however, I bet you guys can go out, and adults, if you want to eradicate some noxious weeds, I'd be happy to send you a certificate too. So everybody stay safe. Remember to wash those hands, get outside, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, just keep your distance. Everybody be safe and stay green. Bye-bye, everybody.